Hello, so I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I've got what I'd like to consider a good friend with me. I've known him a
Thanks,
few
mate.
years. That's all right, buddy. Thought I'd bring him along and have a chat because it turns out he is currently 12th in the UK for PlayStation Trophies, which is mental in my eyes. Just madness. Anyway, which also equates to 190th in the world, which is even more ridiculous for me thinking about that, considering there's how many millions of people play PlayStation all at the same time. Not necessarily getting trophies, but I'm with what I can only consider some sort of PlayStation celebrity, or the biggest one that I know of anyway.
I'm no celebrity.
So, warm hello to StuTheChief. By all means, pester him on PlayStation, and he'll make your trophies easier to get, at the very least, I'm sure. How are you, mate?
I'm alright, man. Yeah.
Good, ready
Been
to
looking
get...
forward to this.
Yeah, well, I just thought it'd be a nice chat. I don't often get people on in a sort of, I don't want to say a podcasty type way, because I'm not very podcasty. I like to do silly videos, doing stupid things. But I thought, I can't pass up a chance to have a chat with someone that is a massive PlayStation fan, just from chatting to you about games and getting to know you and stuff like that. I'd rather just get inside your head and see what's going on in there, playing games, basically. It's all about talking about games for me, memories, nostalgia. It's not about celebrities and, ooh, look at me, ooh, look, I've bought this game. I want the stories and the fun and the people that have the fun. I just find that a lot more interesting. So are you ready for like some question time sort of questiony questions?
Let's do it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna lazy edit. I'm gonna put in some sort of mastermind music, I'm sure. I probably won't. Not gonna lie, I'm quite lazy, and this is gonna be one of the easiest edits to put together anyway. But I probably won't go that far, regardless. What brought you into trophy hunting? What did it for you? What was the reason why you started?
So for me, it was a natural thing, really. I mean, I started with, well, the trophy hunting. It started with the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
I had the PS3 from launch, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe trophies started about 18 months to 2 years after.
Yeah, something like that. I know a lot of games backdated them, didn't they, with updates and things like that. Clearly it was a blatant rip-off on Xbox, which you can't knock it because the idea is sound.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But it was just a thing of one day my console did an update. I didn't have any prior knowledge that this was a thing, to be honest, because at the time I didn't really look at news or anything. I didn't have good internet at home. I had dial-up internet, so but yeah, so one day I had an update on my console, and under the game tab there it was trophy collection. I thought, what's this then? So it started with Quantum of Solace, of all games, a James Bond game, and it just went from there. I mean, I didn't really take it seriously up until the start of the COVID lockdown. But there's a story to that.
Oh, really? You've gone nuts since then?
Yeah.
I say it wasn't long ago. It's 2.5 years, I
years.
suppose, getting on. Right, cool. So Quantum of Solace, was that actually the first game that you platinumed?
Yeah, didn't platinum.
Right,
No.
But that was the first game where you thought, oh, what are these? Let's kill 50 guys. Let's get to that level without taking a shot. That sort of thing.
Pretty much, and it had a nice challenge to it. You know, there's online trophies in there, but that's one of many on the card now that I'll never get finished because the servers are long gone.
True. Well, we'll try and catch up on servers and online consoles, hopefully a little bit later on. But just coming back to what I said before, so what was the first game you actually platinumed?
So I had to look through me card for this. To my surprise, and I'm so embarrassed by saying it, it was on the PlayStation 3.
Yep.
Toy Story Mania.
Oh, say, was that with the one with? Was it mini games more than anything?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Okay. Any reason why, or you just got into it and thought that's easy to do, or?
Yeah, I mean that for me was the start of it. One day I went into a shop and I thought, let's just get some games that are an easy platinum, and that was the first one I just jumped on, you know. And the one thing I don't like is if you look on my my profile, PSN Profiles, which I'd recommend to anyone because it's a great site, and there's certain milestones on there.
Yep.
That is the first platinum on that profile. So
right.
That's
what counts.
That's cemented there, and I'm not proud of it in the slightest.
No, well, just having a chat before in the fake green room that is my kitchen.
Yeah.
It was. You were saying that it's not a good one. I'm sure the game's fine. You know, it is what it is. I was expecting something a bit better.
Yeah, and that's going to be a theme when you look through my profile, and we'll get into it. We'll get into it, but we'll just say that there's a particular reason why that I've got so many trophies, and it's a bit of a common theme now amongst, if you want to call them trophy hunters, because there's not an awful lot of hunting to it.
Fair enough. No, fair enough. So, just going back a little bit, so just with the whole achievements or trophies sort of shenanigans, why Sony over Xbox originally? Was it purely out of choice, or was it just because you had a PlayStation 3 and, like you said, the trophies just popped up? I nearly said achievements then. I've got to keep doing it because I'm not really a PlayStation guy. I do prefer my Xbox. Sorry, Generation Pixel, if you ever hear this. It's just not as good for me, and I know you're just a big Sony guy anyway. You were quite looking forward to this chat I was going to have with this fella. But I don't know what made you go Sony.
So, are we sticking with the subject of achievements and trophies, yeah, or just in general?
We don't have to. We can tangent.
We'll go both ways. Why not? So we'll start with trophies and achievements. So there's quite a significant difference for me. So looking on the Xbox side, when you look at your gamer score, it's just a number.
Yeah.
That doesn't represent to me a very good outlook as to how many games you've actually finished until you physically dig into someone's profile. With PlayStation, you've got platinum trophies, and that is the symbol of you have finished that game.
Okay, that's a fair way to think about it. Definitely for me, I don't want to have the Xbox Sony divide because we're all friends here. I just enjoyed having. I'm not a mad achievement go-getter, but it was nice seeing that 1,000 points for a full-blown game, and then it was 400 for an Xbox Live.
Yes.
I believe it was. The scores have all gone mental since, like, I think Halo 4, you can have about 16,000 achievements. Don't quote me on that. But there was something nice about going, oh, got 1,000. Got 1,000. Yeah, I know there was no reward. You got your little platinum trophy, and it's like you've done it, you beat it, you can stop now. You've done everything you could possibly do. Yeah, it's the same thing, just you get a pretty picture, I think.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. So, just moving on a little bit then, what do you think is the favourite game that you've platinumed?
Ooh.
Not necessarily the one you've played, although if you've got a favourite game you've played, cool, go for it. But the favourite one that you've platinumed.
In terms of platinums, and again, I had to. I'm so glad you gave me these questions in advance, because when it comes
I
to
did
this,
not. Just for I'll edit that out. It's fine. There was no prepreration done. Not on my channel.
I gave you 24 hours. That's enough for me.
Right, fair enough.
But again, going back to the PS3, Borderlands 1.
Okay.
And I think for me, it's a case of I used to put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours into Borderlands.
Yeah, it was a game. It doesn't end, does it, really?
It was fun. It was a good way of socialising with my friends.
Yep.
Just carnage, absolute carnage, and loot. I'm a fan of loot shooters as well.
Right.
So yeah, that was it for me.
Do you think they sort of marry together? So games like Borderlands or ones with the same mechanics like Diablo, where you get your legendary, your epic, your blah blah blah, those sort of things which tie into, I've got the best possible achievement trophy. Yeah. I've got the best possible gear. Do you think they tie together?
It does with Borderlands. Yeah. So basically, when you've got the platinum, you're at max level. You've finished the story. But then with Borderlands, it's one of those games you have to go back to. It's just you have to go back to, and the DLC in particular. I mean, there's Cormorax, the Invincible, who's nuts. Yeah, absolutely nuts.
My problem with Borderlands was this was back in my flat in Manchester. Used to have 2 TVs in the living room, just so we could play split screen. We had 2 Xboxes. Yeah. So me and my housemate could play split screen Xbox online. So we play Borderlands together. Because we chop and change the DLCs, we didn't wait for like the game of the year to come out or whatever. We bought them all individually on different Xboxes. So by the time we'd finished sort of fanning around, putting each other's profiles on each other's Xboxes and messing about, it corrupted my save file.
Oh,
Yeah, so my top level brick character had no weapons. Took them all off him. He must have thought I was cheating or something went weird. It took everything off me, so I couldn't play the game because even the lowest enemies would beat me now.
that's why you should back up your saves.
That's it. So I will never. That's why I've not played any other Borderlands games. I've just refused outright since then. I've not played a single one. Despite Borderlands 2 being sat behind me, but that's not the point. I think it was £1. So why wouldn't you?
Well, Borderlands 2 is the best one as well, in my opinion.
I will never know.
Just content and replayability. It's a massive game.
Maybe one day, just when I've not got time for it like everything else. Moving on slightly, what's the worst game that you've platinumed? Or if you've not got a worst one, then just a few sort of main offenders.
I mean, and this is where I'll garner a bit of a reputation. If you look at the top, without trying to big myself up too much, you look at some of the top trophy hunters on like PSN profiles or True Trophies, which is my preferred trophy site.
Sponsored? We're not sponsored.
You'll notice there's a common pattern in it, and again, this is where I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent. So you'll notice that with my profile, there's an awful lot of. I don't want to be harsh.
Go on. I'm fine with it.
I'll just say indie. I'll just say indie. There's a word I want to use, but I don't want to be disrespectful to the
indie or cheap.
Oh, screw it. Shovelware. Why not?
Yeah,
we might as well shovelware.
So it's essentially the games where you buy specifically because the minute you boot that up game and press a button, it's going to give you everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's somewhere, I've got the majority of them where it takes like 30 minutes to an hour to 2 hours, but then there's an awful lot, especially lately, where it takes like 5 minutes.
Right.
But they've found a home now on PlayStation specifically because people will buy them. People will buy, and I'm one of those gullible people that will boost up my card. But then you look at my card and you see more shovelware than you do actual games now.
I suppose at least you. I think you hit the nail on the head there. At least you admit to being a bit gullible about buying them. You're doing it purely for one reason. You're not spending a lot of money on it. It's not something with massive production values. You get it a lot on Steam as well, though, don't you?
Yeah.
Second, you boot up some of their. Do they still do Greenlight? I can't remember. I don't really go on Steam much.
What's it? Greenlight?
Yeah, it's like their indie approval page where they put games all on it, and then if they're good enough, they go mainstream Steam sort of thing.
It's like with Xbox, aren't they? They've got their own little indie development program where.
They used to on 360.
Yeah. They've got it a bit on the new Xbox now, but they're the games that don't have achievements.
Yeah.
But with Sony, there's not really any quality control. I think they're just letting anything on at this point, but they realise that trophy hunters such as me, it's a cheap little payday for them.
Fair. No, fair, absolutely. So, do you take your stats seriously? As in, wanting to be a contender, 12th in the UK, clap, clap, clap. It's not something to be sneered at, is it, being 12th out of everyone? That's mental for me. Or is it more of a challenge playing the games themselves? Because I know you said you've just got a lot of shovelware, and that's going to be part of the score that goes into it. But do you furiously take those stats seriously?
No. And again, if you have a look at my card, and we'll get into it, there's certain games where I've only popped like 1 or 2 trophies on them.
Yep.
There's an awful lot like that. Now, the reasoning behind that is there's an event on True Trophies called the Bean Dive. Now, I haven't done trophies much in the past several months because I'm preparing for such an event.
Right.
Where what I'm going to do is effectively drop my load. I'm going to...
Pardon?
Every game that I've pretty much bought that's shovelware in the last 12 months,
yep,
I'm going to play them all one after the other, pop one trophy on them to destroy me overall trophy completion percentage.
Okay.
And everything else that goes with it. And then the challenge is I've got to work it back up as much as I can.
Right, okay. Is that a recognised thing that people do on the sites?
Yes.
Right, okay.
So there's True Trophies, and then there's True Achievements as well, which is in a partnership with Microsoft. They're way more well known.
Right.
I don't think Sony likes True Trophies.
I have heard
to
of
be honest.
True Achievements. So if you Google any sort of achievement or how to do this particular part of the game, they're always one of the top searches. Yeah, definitely.
But they work hand in hand. The owner of the site is lovely. I used to do some work for him on the site, just general game information. Did that for a couple of years. And this is my primary thing now. So yeah.
Right. When's the time on that start and finish for this score crash?
I believe it will. Don't quote me on this. This is what I've been told by one of said managers there. It's going to be within the next 2 or 3 weeks as of recording this.
I was going to say, you could quote me whatever you want. I'm going to believe you because I didn't even know it existed till 2 minutes ago.
That's going to be taking up a hell of a lot of my time.
Right.
And I think it's just going to get me in the general groove of popping trophies again. I'm looking forward to it. And what I've noticed in the past 12 months is I've gone from, and I do pay attention to it. I've gone from 7th in the country to 12th on PSN profiles because I've just stalled waiting for this event.
Right.
So this will get me back up there.
Will it, or will everyone else be doing the same thing at the minute?
No. No. Well, this is the difference. PSN profiles, it is the number one trophy site. True Trophies is sort of like a side thing, but that's the one I will always go to. I'm loyal to them.
Fair enough.
I like the staff. The sites run well, and just nice community. Nice community. I don't mean any ill will to PSN profiles because again, there's some nice people on there, but there's certain things on there I don't agree with, and I'm not really going to get into the details of that because I don't want to diminish them much.
All fair. Cool. No, it's all interesting stuff because I don't chase trophies, achievements, things like that. Chasing trophies, you'd have to get about 6 inches of dust off my Final Fantasy PS4, which I got sat there. I don't even use it. I get it out maybe once every Christmas to play everybody's golf, which is a good enough reason to get your PlayStation out. Yeah. Absolutely. You have to hit a stick with a frying ball with a frying pan. It's far more fun. Moving on a little, so just coming back into the trophies themselves, what's the hardest trophy that you think you've got?
Ooh. Pro Evolution Soccer 2015.
Okay.
So they had their own variant of FIFA Ultimate Team, which was called My Club. Nowhere near as popular.
I quite enjoyed My Club. It was all right. Yeah. I played it a bit on 16 and some of the older ones.
It was fun back in the day, whereas it was hard to get the best players.
Yep.
Nowadays, it's completely the opposite. And if you ask anyone that's playing this, you can't call it, well, it's not Pro Evo now, it's eFootball, isn't it? But eFootball, they're giving away 90 rated players every 5 seconds, and it's just not fun anymore. Back to that anyway, so back to 2015. So there was one particular trophy where you had to win 6 matches in a row against the AI on Superstar difficulty, using your team in my team. Bear in mind, I didn't have a very good team at this point. And I sunk, it must have been 100, 200 hours into that. Because it would run almost like ranked matches on, let's say, like a fighting game, for example. So you'd start at the regular difficulty, you'd win 6 matches, then you move up to the next difficulty, you win 6, you move up. But then the second you lose 1 or 2, you go down. So then you have to work your way back up again. But there'd be so many points, I'd win like 4 or 5, I'd lose the 6th. I've probably broke about 6 or 7 controllers just trying to get that. That was the one trophy that was stopping me from that platinum. I got it, but never again.
I don't think I've ever broken a controller, so I don't recommend it to anyone. That's an expensive hobby if you get into controller.
I didn't break them deliberately. It's just wear and tear.
No, that's fine.
Just from the time I put into it, I think.
All commendable. So why was it so difficult? Was it purely the difficulty of the game just going? Because I know Pro Evo on occasion, because I've not played it properly for a few years now, would just turn around and AI punish you for no reason whatsoever. Yeah. Apart from it wants to.
Oh, it'd be very deliberate. And again, going back to the current eFootball community, you go on Twitter and there is people complaining that it's scripted.
Right.
And it was very much scripted back then. So you'd be winning a game, 80th minute, the opposite team would score. Always happened, and yeah, just the worst time in my life ever. Trophy hunting, basically. I think because I actually, put some effort into it.
Yeah.
But I couldn't go there again.
No, fair.
There's no way.
I do always remember you'd always see you playing Pro Evo, and you're chugging along, and then you just see players do similar same things that you think, hang on, I'm about to get absolutely dicked on now, and then it happens, which I completely agree can be rage inducing with that. But I'm quite surprised that's the hardest one you've got. It's interesting because speaking to you, you will play anything. Like sports games, wrestling games, football games, fighting games, RPGs. You literally everything you possibly can. So it's nice speaking to people that don't just focus on one particular game. Because I know when you've been in here and we've been playing a few games, we're not getting competitive, but I can see you've got a competitive little streak in you. Because I'm a bit the same myself. Like we played Pro Evo 3 a couple of weeks ago, and it was a very fair match, despite what you're going to say, where you beat me in extra time on golden goal, but I thought it was pretty close to that. But bearing in mind that I've not played Pro Evo for about, God knows, since 2016, I don't think, properly. So I've got a bit of practice to come back to get to a better level.
It was weird. It was so weird to play, but because you look at Pro Evo and FIFA nowadays.
I've not played one for a while.
You go back to one like the PS1 or the PS2, and you just think, whoa! But then it's like that with any game, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're still so playable, though. I think that's the best thing about, especially the Pro Evos, the FIFAs I gave up on years ago. Right, so let's move away from sport in case we've bored anyone to tears. I know not everyone's into football, so I've had a sneaky look on your accounts online.
Yeah, man.
I say no research, did a tiny bit of research. By that, I've scrolled up a site for a little bit. I can see you. Well, I know from talking to you as well. You've got different regional accounts for different exclusives, different timed games.
Yes,
because you do take your games pretty seriously. You have your fun with them. Do you play the same game, a few different times on the same accounts with different regional accounts?
Regrettably, yes.
Regrettably, yes.
Yes.
Is that purely to get the trophies, or is there a part of I want to play that game again?
No, it's to get trophies.
Just to get the trophies.
If I wanted to play it again, I'd just have the one account.
Yeah, fair.
But again, it sounds crazy. I'm a trophy hunter, but then I'm criticising trophies at the same time. Sony allows this, and I know I've got obviously a choice in the matter in whether I want to do it or not. But it's crazy. So, you look at my account and you'll see some games on there where you can have an American stack, you've got a European stack, you've got a Hong Kong stack, Japan stack. So Sony's had my money 4 times there. 4 times.
Well, yeah, that's it. That's the bottom line, isn't it? Is money. There's no other reason.
No.
They wouldn't let you do it otherwise. It's purely because they can take money off someone 4 times. But it's not necessarily taking money. If you're willing to spend the money, then it's you spending the money. I don't see it as a wider issue. Not like loot boxes and things.
No.
I think it's a different ball game with that. But do you think that having the same game, so 3 different platinums from different regions, do you think that's cheating, or does everybody widely do it as an accepted thing in the community?
Yeah, in terms of, again, looking at the top trophy hunters, it's widely regarded there. They all do it. But in terms of cheating, Sony allows it at the end of the day. That's the stance I take on it, and they shouldn't do. It even gets to the point of we're looking at regional stacks, but also console stacks as well.
Right.
So let's take, for example, FIFA 14. There's a Vita stack, there's a PS4 stack, there's a PS3 stack.
All with their own regionals?
No.
Oh, right, okay.
Just like platform stacks.
Right.
But then you've got PS4 to PS5 as well.
Yeah, so doubling up again.
With some of them, as soon as you import your save, they will auto-pop, but then others won't, so then you have to play through them again. Which is, it's all, depending on what game, it's alright.
Yeah.
I guess, but then if you're playing something that's really tedious, or you've got one trophy that takes 10 hours where you have to do this and do that, you just don't want to do it again. You just don't want to do it again. And this is where I'll bring true trophies into play. So True Trophies has its own little filter where, let's say you go onto my profile, you can filter out stacks. So you can see, right, how many platinums has Stuart got without the regional stacks, without the platform. And I quite like that. Because that, for me, is an accurate representation of how many games have I actually finished.
Right, yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, no, that makes sense, actually. Me, I'd be like, I've played 16,000 games. I'd never check into what I've actually done. No, fair enough. It's interesting because it's not something I ever think about is having different accounts for different regions and things.
Yeah.
I'm quite lucky with the Switch because it's region free, so I just go crazy with it.
Yeah.
Got a friend in America. We buy each other games if we need them, so it works out. I like physical over digital anyway. I'll do digital when something's cheap enough because I am a cheap man. Yeah. But apart from that, no, it's weirdly interesting.
It's not a good time to be a retro collector.
No, it's not. He says, start looking at shit on a shelf. So, looking a bit more modern is the PlayStation Store updates with their Xbox Live equivalent services.
Yes.
Are you excited for all the retro games coming over? So, trophy-wise, surely that's a massive bonus that's about to get chucked on you.
I couldn't believe it when I heard it. I was trying to picture in my head how they were going to do it, because obviously it's taken some sort of an effort to do this PS1 emulation.
Absolutely.
Obviously, Sony were saying for years. I mean, there's one name in particular, like Voldemort, who was adamant, no, we're not going to do this, you know. But it's a nice little incentive to go up to the top tier of this new premium service, I guess. There's not a lot of PS1 games on there to start with, but the fact they've got trophies, it's exciting. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, the ones I've seen at the moment, they look easy, they look straightforward. So it's going to be nice just to tuck in and get going with them.
Yeah, for me, it's a good excuse to play old games that you've done to death.
Yes.
But with the added challenge of I can now have to do this trophy, I have to get so many of these, I have to play the game this way.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. I can't remember the name of the site. Is it Retro Achievements? A quick Google search will fix it. Where you can upload, or play rather, Mega Drive ROMs.
Yeah.
And it's got achievements attached to it.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, so it pops. I started playing it. I got into it for a few games. It was a nice little community. It was when it was first in beta. I'm talking years ago. But it's the added incentive of you're not going to come back to Sonic 1 that often.
No.
Because you've got Sonic 2, which is the better game.
Trumps everything.
Yeah, there's no argument. But getting achievements or trophies or whatever you want to call them for those games, for example, it gives you more of an impetus to want to play them again or experience them a bit differently, which I'm sure that's what all these sort of new old games coming over to PlayStation's going to do.
It's cool because I started with the PS1, hence why I'm more of a Sony guy than an Xbox guy. It's mainly loyalty. That's the main gist behind it. But then you look back now at all the PS1 and the PS2 games I played, and I've got nothing to show for them in terms of like completion. I mean, I've got saves on my memory cards, but it'd be nice to have the trophies to say, look, I've actually done this in this game. There's a debate going on about the emulation with these games. I mean, for us Europeans, okay, 50 Hz, that's what we were used to at the time.
Yeah.
The Americans were a bit on the iffy side over it, but it turns out they're native 60 Hz, so everything's good. Everything's good. It's exciting, but yeah, I wish there was more games on there to start with. Really,
it has to start somewhere, I guess. So I'm sure when it finally takes off and people start getting into all these again, I'm hoping it brings some of the retro prices down myself.
I think it will. I think it will.
Oh, I'm spending. Well, I've given up spending money, to be fair. With that though, are there any particular games you want to get a platinum on? So any ones you want to go back to and think, oh, I'd love to have that trophy in my collection? So
are we talking games which are already on said service, or going to be as of recording if it's not out in Europe yet, or just games that?
Either. I'm fine. So if you want to do sort of fantasy team on it, don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. What game?
why
Well,
not?
all right, then. What games do you want? Would you like to see on the service? And then what games do you want to see? You want to get a platinum trophy on?
So with PS1 to start with, we've already got Tekken 2 on there.
Yep.
But Tekken 3 is the masterpiece.
That's mad. That's not on it though.
Yeah.
That's the best one.
I've heard
Tekken 2's good.
there's an issue with licensing behind one of the characters, which could be that's speculation. That's what I've heard off other
Who would
people.
it be? Gone?
Gone, yeah.
Yeah. He's the only one that's even remotely got any.
Yeah. So how they work around that, I'm really not sure.
That's interesting.
But I think that's going to be the. But then again, it was on the PlayStation Classic.
Yeah.
So how did they? I don't know. But yeah, all three Tekkens. Well, obviously we've already got Tekken 2.
Yep.
I've got Premium on my Hong Kong account. So as of writing, Premium's not come out in Europe.
Yep.
It's out in Hong Kong. So I've played Tekken 2 there. It looks great. It looks no stresses. It looks fantastic. I wouldn't want to go back to the native PS1 variant, and I'm quite content with that now. On my nice big telly, 4K, 60 frames, happy days. Yeah, so all three Tekkens.
You're upsetting my PlayStation games. They're looking at me just going, with a little sad face.
I think it'd be nice to see the original Tomb Raider on there.
Yep.
Because that's an all-time.
That might be a licensed weird one as well.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Or Square's just sold Tomb Raider?
I believe so.
I don't know where that's gone.
I've no idea.
No.
Some random company.
That's even if they own the rights to the old game.
Yeah. I wanted to say G Darius because I'm a big fan of shmups, but then there's G Darius HD. So I wouldn't want to go back to that really. In terms of as they were the original, because again I like the remasters, but it'd be nice to bring back the original Crash and Spyros. And again, there's obviously a massive problem with Xbox, but I take comfort in the fact that the remastered trilogy is on the new premium service.
Yes, those they're good games.
Surely they can work something out.
Yeah, it's surely people might want to, but can you switch to the retro on that one? You can't, can you? No. So it would be nice to see them again, especially in HD.
I mean, I like the remasters. They're not the same though.
No.
People remember them for games as they were intended, original graphics. That's what I'd like to see again. It's funny as I'm saying this, I'm staring at your collection, just trying to get ideas because there's that many games you can, especially with PS2. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, PS2 is insane. Plus, especially with you having a Hong Kong or in a Japanese sort of region, the amount of games you've potentially got access to.
Just Japan alone.
Japan alone. Your only problem's language barrier with some of those ones. You'll just have to stick to, I suppose, your shooters and things.
I mean, in terms of the service, so the PS3 games on there are still running through the cloud service. Now, going back to trophies, there's a lot of Japanese PS3 games which have got very easy platinums. Now, because the PS3 games, they're tied behind this Now service. So when I log in using my main account, it won't let me go onto my Japan account to sync them up.
That for me is already too much messing about.
It's like it's account locked. It's upsetting because obviously I can play games from other regions on my account.
Yeah,
download it. But in terms of the Now service, you are forbidden to that particular region, which is sad because otherwise I'd probably have another 100 platinums. As crazy as it sounds.
No, fair enough.
It's funny now because I mean you look at PS1 and PS2 in general and how many games have had remastered. A lot of the popular ones.
Yeah, a lot of the
already there, aren't
sort of first party stuff, and Capcom is quite notorious.
So you're looking more at stuff that's people have been eagerly anticipating remastered.
I want to see weird stuff like a lot of the Psygnosis stuff from yesteryear that's just disappeared.
Yeah.
Overboard, Hogs of War,
Roll Cage.
Oh, see, there you go. Roll Cage.
Yes.
There was, I can't remember the name of it. It was a 4-player sort of, a bit like Gladiators. It's set in the future. I can't remember the name. And you had to get the most points. Anyway, that one. Memory fails me. No, there's too many games. There's too many games. But turning that on its head, are there any games that you're not looking forward to playing? So whether it's already on the list now or any games that you just think, oh, I do not want to play that, but you probably will anyway.
Can we restrict this to PlayStation, or can we talk about Xbox?
In terms of achievements and things, or just generally?
Just general.
Yeah, sure. Why?
Just
Why
general. Starfield.
No.
Not feeling it. All I see with that is Fallout in space.
Yeah, well, I've still not opened No Man's Sky yet, so one day.
And
just to get a feel.
Visually, I just don't think it looks great.
No.
I'm just, yeah.
So with me would be something like, I absolutely hate Pandemonium.
Yeah.
I can't stand that game. There's something about platformers, or 3D, 2D-ish platformers. I just hate them. And that one's specifically brutal as well. So with added achievement-y trophies, I think that would drive me insane.
Potentially.
I could not possibly get back into that one. Yeah, I don't think. Going back to ones I'd like to play, Legacy of Kain, I think if there was a re-release of that somewhere,
yeah,
that's a good excuse to play again with added incentive to do so.
That's one that people have been craving for on Twitter.
Oh, really?
I've seen, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit janky. Vacant Skull did a really good in-depth video about it actually recently. But I always sell it as Zelda for grown-ups. because it is. You can turn into a wolf for no reason other than jumping over stuff. But it's got a good story. It's very badly acted, apart from the main guy. I can't remember his name. But yeah, I'd love another excuse to play that. So I think that'd be good fun. Dreadful ones, however, Bubsy 3D. That always gets a lot of shit. It's not a good game. It's not the worst game on PlayStation by any stretch, but it's a bad one. So I can't imagine playing that and having to do all the collectibles and
there is a
Bubsy about.
On PS4.
There is. They remade the original, didn't they? And it wasn't very good.
No.
Have you finished that one?
No.
Have you played that one?
No.
Are you going to?
Definitely not. From what I've read about it, no chance.
No. The same with this might be on PS3 actually. Rocket Knight.
Not heard of it.
Yeah, you not heard of it, right?
No.
Yeah. So did you ever heard of it?
No.
So Rocket Knight Adventures on Mega Drive and Super Nintendo. One was called Rocket Knight. One was called Sparkster. And they're different games. Konami used to make different games on each platform in the good old days. But Rocket Knight was really, really good. And then they re-released it or gave it HD lick of paint on Xbox Live, possibly PlayStation, because I've not checked. If you say it's on it, it's on it. And it's abysmal. Absolute childhood killer. It's awful.
Did you say it's on Xbox Live Arcade?
Yes.
Chances are it's on PS3 then.
Yeah. It might have been on a Games with Gold a while ago.
At PS3, it's quite sad, and sorry, I'm going on a tangent again. With the PS3, it's quite sad now because they've stopped the ability to purchase games off the web app. The only way you can buy digital games now is through the PS3 store, which is not very good. It's very, very janky. It's very messy. It crashes.
That's just my experience of PS3s, I think.
So I think this is why it's key now more than ever that they throw as many PS3 games as they can onto this new service, because they've lost care or will for it now. Same as the Vita, and the Vita's such an underrated console. It's the best handheld I've ever had.
Well, you have to say that. Haven't you got a full set?
Yes. Every single... Well, for PAL. Not
No, of course.
Obviously not Japan.
You're not insane.
Christ.
No.
And again, it's controversial me saying that because obviously we've got Nintendos and...
No, it's fine. So it's all good. It's all good. No, so obviously having a full set of Vita games as well helps with your stats.
Yes.
Of course it does. Do you know how many you've finished, like platinumed, out of your Vita set?
Couldn't possibly say.
Are you ever going to have a look?
There's way more PS4, PS3 than there is Vita.
Yeah.
What I tend to do is, a fun fact, I have two Vitas. And the reason why is because you can only have one account linked to one at any given point.
Oh, you're mad. You're like that fella on those viral videos who's taking his Pokemon Goes for a walk on his bike.
There's some games which I deliberately do not want on my card. And again, this goes for all the other PlayStations.
Yep.
So I've got one account for my trophies, and I've got another one where I just casually play games.
Oh no, it's cool.
And that's all.
I'm all about casual games. I've given up playing everything on hard from the off and
Yeah,
all the rest of it. I've just no interest anymore. Sometimes I just want a good story.
yeah.
I just want a good story and a bit of fun. I can kick back and relax and not have to get a sweat on playing a game. I don't need it in my life anymore. With that, speaking of getting a sweat on, are there any games you simply won't go near, you won't touch? So whether it's because the trophies are going to be too hard and you just think, not on my profile, or you just don't want to play the game.
So, and again, going off on a tangent a bit, there's a particular game I've got on my card which I so wish I never had. Is Gran Turismo. I want to say it's 6. Now, with that, you have to do 3 consecutive laps, and the lap time for each one has to be identical, even in the thousandth of the second.
That seems impossible. Can you put ghosts on?
Yes.
So the idea is to just copy your ghost as best you can.
Yeah, even with that, I mean, you've probably got more odds in getting 6 numbers on the lottery than doing that.
No, fair. That sounds like just a ridiculous thing to have to do.
In terms of sheer difficulty, the most obvious one is Wolfenstein 2.
Right.
So the hardest difficulty on that, if you die, you start from the beginning.
I think I've done that, you know.
You think you finished it?
I think I have, yeah.
You're crazy.
I might have.
You are crazy.
I've done New Order and I've done Old Blood. Definitely 1,000 pointed both of them.
Have you done 2?
Have I done 2? I'll have to check. I'll put an edit probably on the screen, or I won't say it if I've done it or not. No, that game's really long though, isn't it?
Yes.
Like brutally long. The other ones are long, but Wolfenstein 2 is when you get the desk with all the jobs, missions on as well, haven't you? Oh, I don't know, you know. I'll check. I'm interested. We'll have a chat afterwards.
I was going to say, if you've done that, you're up there with the top achievement hunters, I tell you, because it's ridiculous.
I'll just say now that I probably haven't, just to save some face.
There's got to be a threshold where they say, okay, we can't make this too difficult, and that just goes way overboard. Like there's no need for them to do that.
I might have stopped down on that one. Though it's fun kicking Hitler in the face. Well, now I'm banned from YouTube from saying that. Just mentioning H from Steps. But that's fine. No, games I won't go near for trophy. I don't like Dark Souls games.
No.
They don't interest me at all. I appreciate that there's a market for them and people like... I mix them in with beat-em-ups, with one-on-one fighters, Dark Souls games, because it's pixel watching.
Yes.
It really is. It's watching every little move, every little nuance, every little stance, every little potential what could happen. I'm not into that. So if I'm playing a fighting game or kicking your ass at Street Fighter when I perfect victory and you walked off, I have to get that in for that Pro Evo beating that you gave me.
That's 1-1.
Yeah, it's 1-1. I'll take it. Is that I just want to have fun. I just want to have a bit of a chuckle, and I don't want to have to learn the game. Because if I'm learning, I'm not having fun, unless that's what you're into, which, yeah. That's it for me with that. I think, however, that might be... I've run out of questions, unless there's anything you want to ask me.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Definitely.
Go on.
And you deliberately said for the start of this, don't ask this question.
Oh, cool. Excellent. Go on then.
Why do you not play your PS4? Because you really should. And you're talking about stories, the best stories, and I'm not a Sony fanboy in saying this, but I am.
Oh, you are.
The best stories are on PlayStation.
There are some very good stories on PlayStation. My problem is, time allowing, I really like Game Pass.
Fair.
Which, I know PlayStation's doing their own whatever, but I've already got it set up. I had it free for several years. The joys of working for Game of yesteryear. And I've given up on AAA games, really. And I know a lot of Sony AAA games, that are out there. I like looking at games I've never heard of, and I think Game Pass is absolutely perfect for it.
Yeah.
I never would have played stuff like Nightcall, Retro Voider. There's loads of sort of weird, wonderful little silly games that I'd never looked at.
Yeah, they push indie games, and rightfully so. Rightfully so, because they deserve a platform. Did you watch the recent Xbox Bethesda briefing?
No, I didn't watch it purely because I've not got a new Xbox. So I've just fallen out the loop because I don't work for Game anymore. Keep saying Game, Sports Direct, whichever one you want to call it. Because I don't work for Game Direct anymore, I've no interest in modern stuff. There's the occasional thing that sort of go, ooh, hello. Like stuff like a while ago, like Red Dead 2, where you think, yep, absolutely, 100%. But there's nothing that I really, really want at the moment that I can't get on Game Pass for free.
Yeah.
So again, I'm shying away from AAA stuff. I've got enough games to happily not buy a game again, which we all know those bollocks. I'm just going to buy more anyway for the sake of it. I've got one downstairs that came through the post, just saying that. Talking absolute shit, but we all do it. That, basically. So I've just no interest in current stuff unless I see something and think, oh, actually, yeah, need to play that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Xbox briefing, it was basically a giant advertisement for Game Pass. Like, virtually every game was Game Pass on there.
I think they have to. They need it to shift some more units that aren't readily available to buy still. Yeah. It's getting better, mine, but when that time comes and Christmas happens, surely it's going to go nuts.
Yeah.
And just having 100 games on your computer straight away is like, that's a selling point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with PlayStation. When that all kicks round and it all goes live and works properly, and it won't because it's Sony will fuck it up. They always do online till it steadies out and fixes itself.
I mean, it's already broke.
There you go.
In the case of there's certain PS1 games that you just physically will not download. It keeps pulling random error messages apparently. So God forbid when it gets over here, but yeah.
Fair. Right, I think we've rambled on enough.
Yeah.
The edit will be horrendous. No, it'll be fine. I have to listen to myself more. What can't I love more about that apart from listening to my own voice? So thank you very much for joining me. It's genuine pleasure just talking about games. I know we don't get to do it that often. So when we actually do, it's a nice little distraction from everything else going on. So yeah, appreciate it. If you want to say hello to Stu, StuTheChief on PlayStation.
Yeah, that's it. Also Xbox Ready Steady Stu.